If you called three of us to decide on where this podcast should be, I would want it closer to my home. Okay?
Yes.
You see that cameraman?
Yes.
He would also want it closer to his home. Okay? Because that is democracy. That's what happens when you involve democracy.
But there's that which we will agree on.
Just hold. Everyone would want things a certain way that would favor them.
True.
But why are we here? We're here because you decided that this podcast will be done here. Okay? Not democratic. But because you decided, all of us are able to see the bigger picture, and therefore we abide and move. And just like that, we are moving. We are not busy still deciding. Democracy gives everyone a right to have an opinion. The right to have an opinion does not always necessarily mean that your opinion is sensible. Okay?
Yeah.
When you look at sometimes when the reasons why people have gone to court, just because someone has gone to court about an issue, Trisha, should not make you think that what they are presenting in court is to help us, or is sensible, or is what is right. Sometimes we have gone to court, Trisha, on political grounds.
True.
We go to court so that we ensure that this does not work, so that government has a bad name, so that at the end of the day, we are advantaged. But there's no part of law that tells, blocks anyone from doing that. You can always go and have that opinion. Two, because we are a conversation country, the implementation of every project will have its teething challenges.
True.
But someone will always highlight the challenge more than the reality of the project. And that creates a conversation. Recently, there was a senator, the senator of Nyeri was on TV speaking about SHA. And the presenter asked him, have you ever used SHA? That is the beginning of how he started being tongue-tied. He started messing around saying, you see, suddenly he lost his right of speech. The power of speech got lost. Yet, when he was speaking about how it's not working, he was very eloquent. But the moment the presenter asked him whether he has ever used it, he ran out of words. Why? Because the reason he was speaking about how it is not working is more pegged on the politics. Because the politics that he is in right now, he stands in an opposition political party. And when you are in opposition political party in African countries, is that you think your work is to ensure that government fails. And so you propagate this narrative and shout it so much that at the end of the day, it starts looking like a reality. The scandals that you're talking about and saying that people talk about the scandals, it's true that some of these things actually come up, and I totally agree. But what do we highlight as scandals? We highlight audit queries. An audit query, Trisha, is not a scandal.
I know, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I know, yes.
We have had governments before where we have had serious scandals, complete with a friend of mine says scandals that had two names. The Goldenberg scandal, the Kimskit, I don't know what it was called, the Kemsa scandal, the reality of the scandals that have ever existed. When you look at today, most of the things that we call scandals are not scandals, they are audit queries. Actually, it is almost 3-4 years down the line, and you can be able to see it for a fact that this government still has not been able to we have not been able to put our hand on a scandal that is not an audit query. Up to today, we are only conversing audit queries. When we talk about rule of law, just yesterday, the president was swearing in about how many judges. Things that had stalled even in previous regimes. Yeah? When you look about the rule of law, there was a chance. Remember, we have had previous regimes, and sometimes presidents get so tired with democracy that they choose to ignore court orders. You've seen that. Because of the tiredness. That shows you what I'm telling you about the democracy. The processes of doing things. Presidents have at some point ignored court orders. But in this government, I've always argued that President Ruto is the first one who has not ignored a court order to date. He has been able, when they said, stop housing until we finish with the process of the courts, he stopped, went through the court process. Most of other presidents, what did they used to do? They get tired. And part of me, the undemocratic part of me, we used to understand them. And I'm like, boss, sometimes these things are tiring. But this one has stuck to it and said, that is the democracy. We stop, we wait. The court has now given us clearance, we go ahead. The court again says stop, we stop again. until you get the clearance. That is how much they have really tried to abide by the rule of law. So the truth is that there might be, of course, there are always challenges in a government. But I am always one of those people who chooses to see the glass half full more than half empty. And most of those things that you want to call scandals,
they are not scandals.
They are actually audit queries. I would challenge you questions. To tell me any scandal that is proven and viable that has actually happened in this regime. Not because I love them, but because that is the truth.
Well, because I don't have, I didn't